What is up, Wise Take Nation? It's your boy Brewmedic47 here, as always, with my mulleted, mustachioed monstrosity of a partner, and Mr. Shockey at Clint Petrikis. Every week, I don't think I'm ever going to pronounce your name right.
You purposely don't.
Purposely, yeah, you're 1,000% right. So, welcome everyone to the Wise stream for PGA. This week, we are going to be breaking down the Northern Trust. So, Shockey, let's touch on last week real quick. The Wyndham Rewards Championship. Nothing too spectacular.
No, it was because for me it was Straka, Garnett, and Todd.
Yeah.
Which all Todd had to do was shoot 1 under on Friday, and then he was all the way at 1 over and got back to 2 under and just decided to be a douche.
Decided to be a douche. Well put. Yeah.
And
Ches. I'm sorry. Riavi.
Oh yeah, Chet.
Double bogeying.
The last hole.
On 18. Missed the cut when all he needed was a par. Just had to make par. And I don't even think he found the water. I think he just completely muffed.
Oh, he missed a 2-foot putt.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Yes. I think twice. I think he missed 2 2-foot putts, if I remember correctly.
He 4-putted that hole.
So he had
a birdie chance.
lost strokes putting on that one.
Just a couple.
Yeah, so that killed me. Riavi killed me in cash, and then Todd, who was super chalky. It was weird though, because Moore was super chalky and he missed the cut. Todd was super chalky and missed the cut.
Moore bogeyed his last hole to miss the cut.
He sure did. Missed the cut on the number. So I guess it was a Webb Simpson or bust in cash kind of week since
Billy Horschel.
Yeah. I picked English over Horschel, so
he did fine, but it was just English was running better than Horschel, and Horschel just caught Horschel had a day one and then just the rest of the week, and then Jim Harmon, who won it, who's not good.
Harmon.
Oh yeah, Chalk Jim Harmon, who's I don't think any 0.1% owned, probably less than that.
Yeah,
who's garbage. He used to be decent, but
putter just caught fire.
No, his irons.
On the weekend. Well, he putted really well on the weekends, too.
And his irons, and he's outside the top 200 in putting and irons. Yeah. He was 5 under through 2 days, and then shoots 16 under through 2 days.
Yep.
And I was like, after he shot 9 under on Saturday, I was like, okay, you had your day. And then...
Nope, comes out and does it again.
And that's what cost me $3,000 in the final round showdown, was Jim Harmon going 7 under, because I didn't play him.
It's like... Why do we do this to ourselves?
Why do I think Jim Harmon's going to win this week? He had to win to make the playoffs. He made the playoffs. He was 198th in points, makes the playoffs by winning the last event before the playoffs.
Hey.
And shooting 16 under through 2 rounds and winning over $1 million.
We chose this. We chose to play this game. We have no one to blame for this but ourselves. Just totally forgettable tournament on my end. I mean, there's nothing really overly exciting about it. But
I had some good plays outside of those, my 3 highest exposed, below 9K guys.
Yeah, but I mean, how many 6 of 6s did you have?
I don't know. I know all my 5 main lamps I make from my article were all 5 of 6.
Mm-hmm.
Because they either had Todd, Garnett, or Straka.
Yep. Yeah. So, well, that's where we're at. So, yeah.
Even 6 of 6s weren't safe, depending on your 6 of 6.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, like you said, it was Webb Simpson or bust, really. Webb, Horschel, and then you were pretty much good to go. It didn't really matter.
Patrick Reed had a good showing.
He did.
He wasn't high owned, but he had a good showing.
Yeah. But, well, like I said, the Wyndham Championship, completely forgettable. event on my end. So let's move on to the very first event of the FedEx Cup playoffs, the Northern Trust. Last year was the first year we really saw this get really changed around. There used to be 4 events for the FedEx Cup, and then they dropped it down to 3. And the event that they eliminated, the Dell Technologies Championship, they agreed to swap back and forth for the Northern Trust. So the Dell used to be played at TPC Boston, and then
which is what they're playing here, anyways.
Yeah, playing this year. Last year they played at Liberty National in Jersey.
They usually switch the courses around for this.
For the Northern Trust, yeah.
Yes.
But they agreed. I guess it's either going to be. I think it's going to be between Liberty National and TPC Boston going forward. If I understand.
Which is good. I like consistency.
Yes, a degree of consistency. So if you're looking at last year's stats, that's from a different course. That's the point I'm trying to get to. So last year, the Northern Trust was at a completely different course. If you want to look at course history, look at the Dell Technologies Championship from 2018 and prior.
Or just look up how they've done strokes gained at TPC Boston.
Yes, that works as well. So that being said, the field this week is smaller. 125 of the top FedEx Cup point gainers. Mr. Wyndham Clark is Mr. Irrelevant. The last man in at 125.
And Jim Herman.
Yep. Sergio's not in it. Sergio got cut.
Good.
Fair enough. So
you don't like him either.
No. I mean, whatever.
No one likes Sergio.
So this week, 125 golfers. The cut is still top 65 in ties. So still smaller field, same size cut. So we should only have around 60 golfers getting cut. So we should see higher 6 of 6 percentages. All depending on how the chalk does, really. I mean, I've pretty much given up on trying to guesstimate what the cut percentages is going to look like this week because it seems pretty dependent on what the chalk does. So, anything you want to throw out there, Shockey, or should I just hop right into the course?
Go for it.
Okay. Anyways, this week the PGA Tour heads to Boston, shipping up to Boston to play TPC Boston, which was built.
Oh, it's actually Norton, Massachusetts.
Norton, Massachusetts. Yeah, right on the Rhode Island border. Yes. Okay. So TPC Boston, built in 2002 off of a Palmer design. It saw a bit of an overhaul in 2007, which was also the first year it hosted the Dell Technologies Championship as part of the FedEx Cup playoffs. This was a unique event on tour for a long time, as it usually fell over Labor Day weekend, and as such, the event was played from Monday to Friday Friday to Monday instead of Thursday through Sunday. Of course, all this changed with the overhaul of the FedEx Cup last year. It plays a little over 7,200 yards and has a par 71 with 4 par 3s and 3 par 5s. Par 5s here aren't anything to worry about. They're the 4th, 3rd, and 1st in terms of ease on this course. The 530-yard 18th hole and the 542-yard second hole should both be reachable by by most in this field, and carry a birdie or better rate of around 50% and 37% respectively. While the 600-yard 7th hole is still pretty gettable with a birdie or better rate around 32%. The 4 par 3s here have some teeth, 2 rating in the middle of the pack in terms of difficulty. The 187-yard 16th and the 208-yard 3rd are literally 9th and 10th in terms of difficulty, with a par rate around 65% and a birdie rate around 14 to 16%. Meanwhile, the 213-yard 8th and the 231-yard 11th are fucking hard. The 5th and 2nd hardest holes on this course, with a par rate around 70 and a bogey rate around 20%. Nasty holes with par is a good score. Of course, now we have the par 4s to worry about, and exactly 8 of them fall between 400 and 500 yards. Of the 6 longest par 4s here, every single one of them falls in the top 50% of the hardest holes on this course. And the second longest par 4, the 495-yard 14th hole, is the hardest hole on the course, even more so than the 15-yard longer 12th hole. There's also a drivable par 4 here, which was actually lengthened a little bit. It used to play as like under 300 yards, and they stretched it out a little bit. Par 5 scoring is going to be a huge difference maker this week, as will not totally melting down on the long par 4s. From tee box, we have decently wide fairways. We see historically average fairways hit and driving distance are both over tour average here. Past winners do decently off the tee, but is by no means a paramount stat. Still, like all courses, you got to hit the short grass, and length off the tee is never a bad thing. There aren't a ton of bunkers in play here, but there are some. The main hazard off the tee here are these bizarre mounds that are all over the course. Balls that land on them will have to contend with both awkward stances and taller grass on the mounds. There will also be rough, of course, but usually it is thinner, kind of tall, but not overly hard to hit out of. If the greens are more receptive, the rough won't be very penal at all this week, but if it plays drier, then obviously shots from the rough will be harder. As for the greens, they're bent grass, right about tour average in size. Greens in reg and scrambling rates this week are usually above tour average. Most of the winners here get really hot with their putter. The greens are defended mostly by bunkers and some water here and there. We have a mixed bag of elevated greens, hilly greens, tiered greens, and straightforward, flat and firm greens. Obviously, we have to keep an eye on the weather, as we have seen this course play like a birdie fest around minus 22 or in the teens, depending on the wind and rain we get this week. So we will see. Shockey, anything you want to add? Anything I forgot?
No, yeah, I just added the par 3s between 200 and 225, the long par 4s, 450, 500, par 5 scoring, then some a little bit of bogey avoidance, just a tiny bit, and driving distance.
Nice, yeah, definitely driving distance. Definitely like, I know we forgot to talk about stats last week. I saw the comment in the Slack chat. So yeah, I mean, approach tee to green every week. I have a little bit of putting love, a little birdie or better, because this does tend to be a higher scoring event. Driving distance, driving accuracy, par 4s, par 5s, proximity. That's pretty much my model for the week. So any weather you want to talk about? Anything you've seen?
Nope, nothing major. Mid to high 80s, 5 to 10 as of right now.
Yeah,
it is Tuesday.
Dry too. I don't think there's any rain that they're calling for, right?
Not that I saw. But it is Tuesday, and yes, I don't know much about New England weather, but anything could change.
It can be shitty. We literally had a hurricane last week, 2 weeks ago.
Calm down. It was like a light breeze.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, let's get into the picks for this week. We have this 10K and up range, 6 golfers this week. Kind of softer pricing this week that I could, from what I kind of gathered. There's a couple weird areas that are just like fucking dead zones to me, where there's like no one that I like in like a $500 range. But yeah, I don't know. Looks odd, but this is the last full-ish field with a cut week we have for a little while. So let's dive in
until the U.S. Open.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there is an event in between, right?
Is there? They give them a week off before the U.S. Open. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But
the U.S.
end of the
backyard.
Yeah, anyway, you can't go.
We have what's that?
You can't go.
Can't go. Womp womp. John Rahm at 10K, all the way up to JT at 11.3. Who are you on this week for Shockey?
If you had to guess, who do you think's my favorite guy?
Is it JT?
No, it's
DJ.
The opposite. DJ. Yep.
I was gonna say DJ, but I was like, yeah.
Ahead of Jay, you're almost there. It's because at his current ownership and the way he's played, but he's projected currently at the lowest own in this range at around like 12-13%. That's not the only reason I like him. But, I mean, after he won me a bunch of money at the Travelers, I was like, oh, he's going. And then shoots 16 over at the Memorial.
Yep, that happened.
That whole week. That's what started like the bad stretch. Memorial started the bad stretch of weirdness, it seemed like. Then withdrawing at the 3M after round 1 after shooting 7 over. Came back with a 12th at the St. Jude. Is a no-cut event, but still at least a decent showing. And then came second at the PGA Championship 2 weeks ago, where he honestly could have won it. Mm-hmm. Where he gained strokes in every category of those 2 events as he comes out lowest projected own. At this course, in the last 12 rounds here, he is 4th in total strokes gained, 1st tee to green, 1st in ball striking, 1st off the tee, and 7th on approach. He'll struggle at putting at 54th, but I feel like Dustin Johnson can catch fire putting any week and go 6 strokes gained. He does that time to time, which is how he won the Travelers and how he did so well at the PGA. My next guy is Bryson. He's just been a man on a mission. 3 top 5 since the restart. 3 top 5s, 4th at the PGA, and 2 other top 10s. He's been one of the best putters in the game. In his last 5 events, he's gained strokes putting in 4 of the 5. In those 4 events, he's gained 5, 7.8, 10, and 4.8 strokes putting. His approach numbers don't look that great, but they're being dragged down by 2 horrific events. He's gained strokes on approach in 4 of his 7 events, and he even won the Rocket Mortgage, losing half a stroke on approach because he can drive almost to every green, and he's gotten putting down to a key.
God, he's so.
He's like a full-size version of Jordan Spieth when Jordan Spieth was good at putting.
Okay, I mean that's kind of a weird comparison, but okay.
You can use it. If you want to use it, you can take it.
Because his irons and proximity numbers are not great in the last 24 rounds.
Yeah, but like I said, it was 2 events that were bad. Like if it was the WGC, he lost 7 strokes on approach. At the Memorial, he lost 6 strokes on approach, which could have been from the whole 15 where he shot 3 times out of bounds. Rocket Mortgage lost half a stroke, but if you look at all the other, Charles Schwab, 4.8, RBC 5.9, Travelers is only 0.7, and PGA is 1.3 he gained. He doesn't have to gain a ton of strokes on approach with his driving and his putting. He just has to gain strokes on those on approach, and all the other categories will fall into place for him.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I mean I'm definitely on Bryson. I'm definitely with you. I mean he's just the fact that he's the second best putter in this field in the last 24 rounds is wild, and he is like light years ahead of everyone else in this upper range in terms of putting. The next closest is Rahm.
At 56.
56, yeah. So when John Rahm is the second best putter in our price range, that's got to tell you something.
I'm just surprised Morikawa is second best at 68.
Yeah, well, third best, second to the second best.
Just a real quick, Bryson DeChambeau in 2015 was 120th on tour in putting.
Yeah, he's done some work. He's improved his game. I think that's back when he's doing the. That's back when he was doing the weird like side stance hammer putter thing that everyone made.
Well, practice. If everybody just practice putting, you can be amazing at golf.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, right? So, yeah, I mean the cash play in this range is obviously Morikawa. He just won a major, and he's cheaper than the dude that he beat in that major.
But to be fair, who's got the more consistency?
I would argue basically Morikawa.
Well, yeah, Morikawa, but I mean, for a prolonged career, you can't
Yeah, but what have you done for me lately?
He just came in second.
And Morikawa won. I mean, yes, it's only $200 of difference, and
yeah,
okay, fine.
And it's the playoffs. It's a different mentality.
Yeah. So, yeah, Morikawa is hands down the cash play in this range. At 10-2, he's fairly priced. He's got winning upside. His numbers are awesome. 6th overall in my model. His irons are just lights out. He should be able to pound these greens no matter where the ball goes off the tee. And even still, he's super accurate off the tee. So, yeah, I'm on board with Morikawa. And then, yeah, I like Deschampo as well. I'm with you on the Deschampo flex. I'll take us down to the 9K range. There's not a lot in here for me for cash.
It was hard.
I mean, there's actually, I guess there's a couple down here. There's actually not a lot. There's not a lot in the 8K range for me in cash this week, so it's going to be very weird. I don't know how balanced I'm going to be getting. But yeah, right off the bat, it's Flay at 9,700. He's playing really well. He shows up at these events. Look at his last 5 events, all top 20s. 10th at the PGA, 6th at the St. Jude, 13th at the Memorial. So solid events, and he's top 15ing them, top 10ing them. So definitely Flay play.
I just want to point out, in those events, he's been good. The thing is, he's been bad in some categories. Like at 6 is WGC St. Jude, lost 5.6 strokes on approach, came 6th.
But didn't come.
Yeah, and putting, didn't gain any strokes on approach at the PGA. Came in 10th, came 13th at the Memorial while losing 5 strokes at putting. But his irons and off the tee were amazing. If he can complete one full weekend of just gaining everywhere, he'll win it.
Yeah,
he just can't. He just decides what he wants to try on each week.
Yeah, he's tweaking some things. He's a little tweaky right now. So yeah, Flay, and then like you said before, Day's been like sneaky good lately.
He's not going to be sneaky this week.
No, he's definitely not going to be sneaky this week at all. But 4 top 10s in a row with 2 top 5s, like Jesus. He's putting.
He just needed a 3-month break.
Exactly.
For his back, he got like 20 back surgeries that no one got that recovered real quickly.
Well, I mean, he needed more than that because he had 3 out of 4 missed cuts when Flay picked back up. But yeah, I mean, he's looking like old Jason Day. Like 10K Jason Day. Hey, that rhymes. Tee to green, awesome. Approach, awesome. Putting, awesome. So, yeah, Jason Day, absolutely. And then Patrick Reed. I mean, he won this event, not this course, but not the same place. But he still does have a very good history here. From 2018 to 2014, he's made every cut. A couple top 10s, top 5s. Looks like he's playing well right now.
All you need is his irons to be there because his putting will be.
Yeah. I mean, that's Patrick. Even tee to green, he's been solid. Last couple events, last 5 events.
Oh, yeah.
One bad tee to green week. So I'll take it. I'm down.
Which is a week where you get paid no matter what, so you don't really have to care.
Yeah, it's just a fun week. So that's really it for me in this range for cash. Flay, it's Day, and Reed.
Yeah. The only reason I'm avoiding Day and GPPs is because of the ownership, but I have no problem with them. If you get Del Fenow, where you can play Day, because he's been amazing. He's 3rd in my model. It's just for ownership purposes. But Flay, yes. I like Reed as well. And then instead of Day, I'll Cantlay. The problem with Cantlay is that he starts off super slow, makes a cut, and then picks it up on the weekend. That's been his problem. Because like even at which one was it? Because he came in the top 10 and shot the best in the field. The Workday. At the workday, he was like 3 under and like 8 strokes out of the top 10, then shoots like 7 under and comes inside the top 10.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
He had a monster.
Barely made the cut. It's just been his slow start. So if he can just if he can be inside the top 25 going into the weekend, he can definitely have a great weekend to go with it, because it's not anything amazing numbers, because it's great numbers from the weekend, but poor numbers from the first 2 days, which kind of even each other out. Poor numbers for his price and the type of player he is, but Cantlay's a good putter, good iron player. He just struggles at these. He struggles at the long par 4s, but he's number 1 in the field in par 5s. But somehow 56 in greens in regulation over the past 24 rounds. Probably because his first 2 days he's just barely missing the green. But if he can just start off really well, I think he can have a solid week. I just can't tell you when Patrick Cantlay is going to start off well.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'll take us into the 8K range. At the top, Berger season, all the way down to Hatton and Justin Rose. And I know you're going to say Berger because you don't like the 8K range, but Berger has been my boy since day 1 of this calendar year. I don't have him before that, but what can you say bad about Berger? You can't say anything bad about Berger.
No.
Like, there is nothing I can say bad about him. Nope. Like, his worst stat category is driving distance at 76.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and since the restart, 4 top 5s. He won an event. Came 13th at the PGA, where he had his worst putting week, where he lost like 0.2 strokes putting. That was his worst putting week since the restart. He's top 10 in long par 3s, long par 4s, tee to green, putting, ball striking, bogey avoidance, and approach. He's the most complete player. No one talks about him because he's performing better than Morikawa, but no one's talking about him.
Yeah.
Outside of the gambling community. You turn on TV. Exactly. No, you go turn on TV. They're not talking about Daniel Berger.
He doesn't.
Unless he's like.
He doesn't draw the viewership.
I don't know why. He's amazing. Yeah. Like, by these numbers, he should be 10,000.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, because it's Daniel Berger.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 top 10s in the last
this
8
year.
Events.
Yeah, this year.
Yeah,
that's a $10,000 player with his numbers. But because but you can't put him against guys because of what the history. But yeah, it's Daniel Berger. Then I'll go with Tyrohan. Hatton has played 4 events since the break. He's made 2 of those 4 cuts. And those made cuts, top 5s. So he's kind of like, I didn't talk about Taylor Gooch, who was in the top 5 and then fell off the map. But I didn't care because he did fine. But he's kind of like Gooch, where he could be boom or bust. But the thing was that he's gained strokes on approach in 3 of the 4 events. In the first 2 events, he was lights out putting, which he's a good putter. The only event of the 4 events he's played was the WGC, where he came dead last, but kind of just a fun weekend. I know what I'm getting with Hatton, a great iron player that can be an amazing putter that week, and even a good putter. He's not a boom or bust putter. He can be boom. He can be average. He can be he's not usually that bad, but he's lost 3.7 the past 2 weeks, but he's usually not that bad. Even though he missed the cut at the PGA, he did gain 3.7 strokes on approach and 3.2 strokes tee to green. It was just his putting that let him down. Then we're going to Big Dick Vic.
Do you like him or do you love him?
I kind of like him. He's struggling a bit. Like Morikawa struggled those 2 weeks after the first start of the restart.
Yeah.
Where he was terrible and all that. That's what Victor Hovland's going through right now. They're young, and that's going to happen. 3 bad weeks in a row. He's made 2 of 3 cuts. One was the WGC, but we know what he is. It's going to come back. It's kind of like Sanjay M. Sanjay M came back last week, had an amazing week. The talent is there. They've done it for enough time where it's been a short time, but they've done it for a year. and you know what kind of player they are. You don't get lucky for a year with the numbers that you do. He actually gained over what?
Real quick.
I know what you're gonna play. So
big dick, and you know I love big dick.
Yeah,
that's it.
But it was funny for Victor Hovland last week was that he gained over 4 strokes putting, but lost strokes on approach. That makes sense. It just flip-flopped.
He's hot.
But his around the green numbers have gotten way better since when he practiced that time during the break. He's a great iron player, great tee to green. Just got to worry about the putting, but he can get it inside so close that it doesn't matter about his putting sometimes. And he has his par 5 numbers won't look as good. It's still 15th in the field, even with struggling over the last 3 weeks. Then I'll go to Tony Fenow. I mean, Tony Finau's been playing amazing. He's actually gained strokes. Tony Fenow has gained strokes putting in 4 straight events. I didn't think I'd say that ever, but I'm saying that.
Happy learned how to putt.
But he can't. But Happy did not learn how to finish.
Nope.
In his past 3 events, I'm not counting the WGC. He came 65th in WGC. I don't really count those, but 8th at the Memorial. That's a stacked field, and it was a very hard course to play on that week. 3rd at the 3M, which was first until Sunday, which that you don't bet on Tony Fenow if he's in first on a Saturday. And 4th at the PGA, which he was climbing the leaderboard. And I think it was only 1 stroke behind second. It's either his time has passed for his first actual win, not an alternate field event win, which is his only win, or he's going to get one soon. He's going to be chalky, which makes sense because his numbers are amazing. I love him because of that. I like him because of that. Don't like the ownership, but I mean, it's kind of like the Jason Day thing. They've been playing amazing, and it seems like it could come soon. For either one of those two. They're both going to be chalky, but both great plays. I think they're both good chalk.
Yeah, I mean, golf has a funny way of blowing up good chalk. But yeah, I mean, I'm on board. I was looking at Fenow. Fenow was like a fringe play for me. But obviously, are you done? Was there anyone else you wanted to?
No, that was it. Oh, you're good.
All right. Yeah, so Berger, obviously. First, my model. He's absolutely hands down without a doubt going to be my cash lineup. And then the other guy I wrote down was Matsuyama. We all know our dear friend Hideki bot. Since the restart, he has missed 2 cuts, and everything else has been a finish in the 20s. So 22nd, 20th, 22nd, 21st. So, he gained strokes putting last week and actually lost strokes with his irons, which is kind of like opposite for Hideki. Tee to green was okay, but lost strokes with his irons and actually gained strokes putting. So, kind of a weird week for him, but I mean, he's Hideki. This is kind of what he does. So I will certainly be on board with Hideki and cash at 8,600. I'm like 8,600. I'm completely fine with a finish in the 20s. Completely fine with that. I took a little bit of a look at Paul Casey. I know he was kind of a chalk bomb for a couple weeks and then went off when no one was on him. But don't know if I could get there this week. I did look at Hovland as well. He grades out well in the model. It's just putting. Putting's terrible, but everything else is solid. So I guess I don't hate Hovland. You can certainly play Hovland at 8,200 in cash. I wanted to like Fitzpatrick because that's my boy, and he's the best putter in this field. But I just something's up with him. I just couldn't do it. His approach.
Well, he lost bones. He lost bones to Justin Thomas.
Okay, he had bones for like 2 events, okay?
And look at what he did in those 2 events.
I mean, a 27th and a 3rd. Like, okay.
Third. Didn't win it.
Yeah. And then the week after, when he didn't have bones, 10 strokes gained putting. He lost just the fact that he's losing strokes tee to green and approach for 2 events in a row, and hasn't really done that well, tee to green or approach at all, really, since the tour resumed. I don't think I can do it. His putter is carrying him, and that's worrisome to me.
That's what won Jordan Spieth all those events.
Yeah, but at least Spieth had like
chipping. He had sand bunker play when he missed the green.
Yeah, exactly. At least he could hit it with his irons and his wedges. So, but yeah, I mean, I'll drop down in the 7K range. Wasn't a ton down here for me. Horschel, obviously. I mean, Horschel I think is going to be pretty highly owned. Solid numbers across the board. 16th in my model. Good on par 5s. Good putter. Horschel always seems to kind of pop at the end of the season and the playoffs. So I'm certainly on board with Billy Ho.
After he lost last week to Jim Herman. I can't play you.
These things. Next up, I think Gary Woodland's worth a play. I mean, he's like crazy cheap, like 7,800 for Gary Woodland, and like
Fowler 7,900.
I saw that, but Fowler kind of deserves that. Let's be honest.
He deserves at least an 8,000.
Well,
like 100 more. Be an 8,000.
So, Woodland, I mean, his last 2 events have been middling, one being a no-cut event. So, and then the other one being the PGA Championship. He'll be looking to defend his U.S. Open title in the coming weeks. But, yeah, I mean, he's Woodland. He's long off the tee. He's a good putter.
He's a good putter.
I just lost him. I mean, comparatively, he is, 13th in this field in the last 24 rounds?
Yeah, I know. That just seems like...
It's weird.
It just sums up this year. Gary Woodland's 13th in the field in putting. He gained strokes putting like 8 events in a row, which has never happened in his career.
Including the work day where he hit 7 strokes gained putting. So, I think he's viable. I'm not the biggest on it. I don't have a fucking big ol' hard eyes next to Woodland, but Answer, love me some Abe Answer since he's actually playing this week.
We get him $2,000 cheaper now.
Beautiful, I love it. Still took the week off last week. 5th in my model. Good on these par 4s. Good with his irons. Good tee to green. Good in proximity. Good putter. Answer in cash. All day, all the way. Baby. Moving on down here. I think the course is a little long for Kisner, so
Yeah.
And he played well last week. He was a good play last week.
Yep. That was a shorter course.
Yep. Kuchar, Kuchar in cash, 7,400. He's done well here in the past. Made the last 5 times he's played here, he's made the cut. He's 7,400. Good putter. I don't hate Kuchar at 7,400 in cash, and that's like kind of it for me for this 7K range. I mean, there's just not a lot down here that I'm really that big of a fan of. Maybe a little Fratelli. Oh, Ovi scored again.
I know. I'm watching it.
I mean, Fratelli's still grading out well in my model. He did okay last week, top 20. That was fine. He didn't really suck at anything. Played pretty well last week, so might go back to Fratelli at 7K. But yeah, not a ton down here really.
Yeah. But yeah, Answer for me, one of the top plays in here, just all around solid. Struggles with the long par 4s. But that's about it. he has gained strokes on approach and putting in 5 of the 6 events he's played since the break. So definitely answer. Matthew Wolff. Matthew Wolff has definitely picked up his game since really struggling on the back and forth at the beginning of the calendar year and when the break returned. But he has made 3 straight cuts with the top 25, a top 15, and a 4th at the PGA Championship. And that stretch, he has gained strokes on approach all 3 times while gaining strokes putting 2 of the 3. He's been a great ball striker, approach, and tee to green player in the last 24 rounds. The one thing that could give him issues this week is that he struggles mightily with these longer par 3s. Other than that, he's been great or good everywhere else. And Ricky Fowler. Not only because of the price play, he is too cheap. And in the last 12 rounds he's played at the scores, he's 3rd total strokes gained, 6 tee to green, 6 in ball striking, 6 on approach. I know the boom and bust play with Ricky at this point this year, but last time you said about his course history plays that I mentioned that said his swing has changed. Well, he was top 3 for 80% of that weekend, which was the Workday charity.
Mm-hmm.
And then he fell to 22nd. But it doesn't matter because he was in the top 3 for 80% of the week until he blew up at the end. But this week, if he comes at 22nd at 7,900, that's not bad. And his numbers are very similar from that course to here from the course history numbers. So I'll take it. And you know Ricky's putting. It hasn't been as consistent as was, but he's a very he will blow up on the greens. If he loses strokes, it's not much. He hasn't gained any immense amount of strokes putting, but he won't kill you on the greens. It's just basically if he can just have an all-around solid game. An all-around solid game from Ricky can lead you into the top 20. Sanjay M. playing last week, and he came back. Finally came back with a great showing.
Missing Sanjay.
And it's kind of like what Victor Hovland's going through. These young guys go through these little stretches. They're bad, but you know the talent's there. So he's come back, and at 7,700, you know he has the ability to come top 10 at any event. The numbers, you can't look at the last 24 rounds because it's bad, but came back. It was a weak field, but gained strokes in every category. And at this price, with the talent he has, I just have to consider him, especially like he's in, and he still can make it to that final. He can easily be in the final top 25 in his second year on tour. So he's definitely going to play for that. I think motivation drives him, and I don't know. I'm guessing it was the Olympics. Then that got canceled, but now it's the playoffs. So and then he comes back and plays amazing the week before the playoffs to get a little bit extra. Yeah, could be a narrative person. Needs motivation for something, but definitely Sanjay M. If he had more consistency, he'd be my top of late. He'd be my top 7K guy because I think he is a better golfer than Answer over a stretch period of time.
He only played better. I would like him more as well.
If he played more consistently of late, because except for the 4 events before that, he's better golfer than Answer. Doc Redman, irons have been good, and he's gotten better at putting. Doc Redman has gained strokes putting in 4 of his last 5 events. He hasn't done well in the long par 3s, and has not been a good par 5 scorer. He has made 6 of his 8 cuts with 2 top 25s, a top 15, and came 3rd last week. If he can just score average around these par 5s and just deal with the par 3s as they come and go, I think he'll be a fine play with his irons and his putter being better. Then I'll agree with you on Fratelli. Solid golf, 4 straight cuts made, 2 of which were weak fields at the 3M and Wyndham, but came 33rd at the PGA and 22nd at the Memorial. Has gained strokes tee to green, approaching around the green in 4 straight while gaining strokes putting in 2 of those 4. Again, struggles at long par threes. I don't know if anybody's really good at the whole game and amazing at long par threes. Oh, Fitzpatrick's second best at these long par threes, so you got that.
Yeah. Also, I don't know why I did the Italian accent. He's South African. So
yeah.
I don't know why. Fratelli, no. South African.
Yeah, he's pretty close. You almost got it.
I mean, it sounds Italian. I'm Italian. It sounds Italian.
Yeah.
Cousin Fratelli.
Any last name that ends in an I should just be Italian.
Yeah. Ends in a vowel. It's a guinea.
Yeah. Then I'll go with Joe Dahmen. Yeah. You pronounce my name wrong. He gets his name pronounced wrong.
Way to punish.
Yeah, I got you now. Don't look. If you look at his past 24 rounds, you'll be like, "Why are you playing him? He's awful." But that's because of the Memorial and Workday Charity, which were at the same course, where he lost over 10 strokes tee to green at that same course in back-to-back weeks.
It's not like Jack's plays.
No, he doesn't. But if you look at the rest of the events, they're good. He didn't blow up in any of them. Irons gained strokes and approach in all of them. Tee to green on all of them. Putting in most of them. And it's just like, at 7,100, I don't think that he did come 10th at the PGA. I don't think the upside for top 10 is there. But I think he can crack the top 30 with his irons and putting and his off the tee. He is like a average in driving distance too. He doesn't do terrible on the par fours. I just don't know how it is because those 2 weeks are really driving down all of his numbers.
Yeah.
And he made the cut on one of them, so he played like garbage for 4 straight days. I don't know how you lose 10 strokes tee to green and make a cut. And lose 9 strokes on approach and make a cut because you gained 0.8 strokes putting. That's the only thing he gained in those 2 weeks. He gained 1 stroke, 0.8 strokes of putting on the second week. That's all he gained. But yeah, I think he's better than that. But Russell Henley, he's been the best iron player, the best ball striker. He's hit the most greens in regulation over the last 24 rounds. He's been the second best tee to green player and second best at bogey avoidance in that same time frame. It's just his putting. His tee to green and his approach game can lead him to make the cut for him to climb the leaderboard. He can't blow up on the greens, but definitely been an elite tee to green and approach. A tee to green and approach guy. I'll go in the 6K range. My top guy is Kevin Na.
Russell Knox. Oh, wait.
I don't think you make the playoffs by missing 8 straight cuts.
He made a cut last week.
I know, and I didn't want to. I didn't respond to it because of that reason. Because you just had to put it in like all caps or something. Like this guy, he didn't even play him, which is even the dumber thing. Like if you would have played him, maybe I would have responded to you. But
Shockey, I don't post things for you. I post things for me.
Yeah. You should just send yourself a text message then, because then at least you would know someone would recognize it.
I did through Slack.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about your own phone. Just send it to yourself.
No, that's just lonely. That just feels like a lonely thing to do.
It was lonely anyways.
That's fair.
Kevin Na. Na's a top 30 iron player in the last 24. 6 in putting. Since the restart, he's made 2 of 4 cuts and 2 top 10s in those 2 of 4. He's like Tyrohan, a cheap Rohan, you could say. His driving distance, he can't drive long at all. But he's a good iron player with a good putter. And I think he could potentially get a top 25 if he can just play above average on these par 5s, as long as his irons are there. His putting, I'm not afraid of. His irons they go on some kind of streak sometimes, it seems like. But Kevin Na and Luke List, I played him last week. He was inside the top 25, top 20 going into the final day, and top 15. But he lost 7 strokes in putting over the weekend. and the week before that. But he gained strokes on irons and all that. He gained strokes everywhere else, but putting, where he's also over 7 strokes in both events. Everything else of his game's been solid. As long as he doesn't somehow lose 7 strokes again this week on the greens, I think he should be fine. And then go back to Henrik Norlander. Just because I played him so much, he's either 6K or 8,000, and he makes the cut either way.
Either way, yep.
Irons have been great. His putting has been really good or really bad. But if he could have a good weekend of putting, he should be able to make the cut. His driving distance is garbage, but he makes it up on his irons and sometimes putting. And his tee to green is bad. And the last guy is Sam Burns. Burns has been playing solid golf, making 5 straight cuts, 2 top 25s, and a 13th last week. Things that will help him this week is ability to hit the long ball, and that leads him to being the 9th best par 5 scorer in the field over the last 24. The long par 3s will give him trouble. His approach numbers aren't that great through his last 24 rounds, but has gained strokes on approach in 3 straight events. That is it.
Yeah, so, I mean, my favorite cash play down in this range is Norlander, by far. Grades out super well. Guy just makes cuts. Like we said. Missed the Charles Schwab, and he's been on a tear ever since. So, yeah, definitely the Northlander. I took a little bit of a look at... Where is he? Lost him. God damn it.
Tom Lewis.
Old Tom Lewis or new Tom Lewis?
I don't know.
Where'd he go?
Carlos Ortiz.
Brian Harmon.
Sun King.
No, there he is. 68.
How did Scott Piercy make the playoffs?
That's a good question. How did Wyndham Clark make the playoffs? I took a little bit of a look at Brian Harmon. He's made 3 cuts in a row. 6,800. Decent history here. He's made the cut here every year in the last 5 years that he's played it. T12 is his best finish. That was a while ago. So I don't know how sold I am on that. His current numbers are pretty terrible, too. Brennan Steele, proximity is good. Par 4s are good. Tee to green is good. Approach is good. Driving distance is pretty good. Putting is decent. So, yeah, a little bit of Brennan Steele love. I don't know why Lanto Griffin is starred, so I'm going to unclick that. Definitely did not mean
Harry Higgs made the playoffs.
Harry Higgs made the playoffs. 6K.
Scott Brown made the playoffs.
Yep. It's been a
Was
weird...
that because he came second at the Genesis? Is that how that's how he made the playoffs? He came second at the Genesis.
Vaughn Taylor.
At least like he had a good start to the year, but like
true.
I don't remember Bo Hogue ever being like, wow, Bo Hogue really had a good week.
Yeah. What about Zhang? Xinjun Zhang. I don't even know.
Actually had, you don't know. Zhang's actually had some decent weeks.
I mean, yeah, okay. The 3M, the Memorial, okay.
But you have to go back. The wraparound season. That counts towards your playoffs.
The Houston and the Safeway. Yep. There it is.
And the Shriners. I guess to make the playoffs, you just have to have like 3 solid weeks and you make the playoffs. I don't know how you don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, especially this year. You just got to not suck. And yet somehow Sergio didn't make the playoffs.
Sergio, we got Scott Brown, Zach Blair, Brian Gay, Harry Higgs, Wyndham Clark, Robbie Shelton
over the winner of the Masters 3 years ago. Wow. I mean, ever since he beat up that green in Dubai, his career has just been spiraling.
No, he had a solid start to the restart a couple events.
That's true.
And then I started to think about him, and as I thought about him, he did bad. I'm like, oh, that's what I get for thinking about Sergio Garcia.
Yep, don't do it. Just don't think about it. That's your fault. So, yeah, and then Sepp Straka,
Oh God.
I know. But 6,300, no red numbers, decent on par fives, decent putter, decent proximity numbers. Driving distance is okay. Tee to green isn't great. Approach isn't great.
No, it's not great compared to the field, but if you compare it to the 6K range, it's average.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather play. Wouldn't you rather play Scott? Wouldn't you rather play Scott Stallings for 6,400?
Yeah, that's fine. You can play Scott Stallings. That's fine. I don't. Yeah,
like, I don't.
Slightly. Yeah. Yeah.
Or you could ride the hot hand of Jim Herman. Hopefully, those 2 rounds.
Tom Hoagie.
Oh God! Oh, I was like, really? He was in first place and playing lights out through like a day and a half. I'm like, really, this guy? I played you in the easy events and the wraparound season and stuff like that, and you can't do anything.
Yeah.
Can't believe you're not on your boy Streelman.
Yeah, I looked at him. Believe me, I took a nice long look at him. Forget what turned me off to him, but there was something. I mean, he rates out decently well in the model. Was it his history here?
Bogey avoidance.
History here isn't great. Doesn't put well on bent. And he just, I don't know, hasn't really sparked a degree of confidence since, I don't know, the work day. Like
Emiliano Grillo made the playoffs. He missed like 7 straight cuts.
Dude, we could do this all day with some of these names. It's just.
I just want to go to the 6K Bowhauser.
It's just a weird season, dude. So, well, that's it for me. Do you have anything else?
No, if you just want to scroll through some names that made the playoffs, is fascinating.
Let's just say names for the next half an hour. That's
Matt Jones.
Jesus. Blah.
Hey, I think he did. He did something. He came top 10.
Bud Pauly.
Bryce Garnett.
All right, I'm done with this.
Pat Perez.
All right, Nation. So, Shockey's article, I'm sure, is up or close to being up. Mine will be out tomorrow. This is going to be the last cash article for a couple weeks because the next 2 events are super small fields with no cut. So
no, one's a 75%, like 50% field, and the next one's like 25 people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're not playing cash or ideally anything in the 25 player field.
150 max entries, and then you just leave. You make a bunch of weird shit.
You just leave like $5K on the table and see what happens. All right, Nation. So that's going to do it for us this week. Hit us up in Slack if you need anything. Shoot us DMs or tweet at us at BrewMedic47 at Clint Petrikis. If you guys need anything. What's that? MySpace?
Hit me up on MySpace.
Yeah. Am I in your top 8 yet?
AIM.
There you go. My away message is still up. So, all right, Nation. We will catch you guys next week for the BMW. And
Championship.
BMW Championship. And that's going to do it. Let us know if you need anything. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like it, what we're doing here. Subscribe to Wise Take. Click notification bell. Do all that. Thumbs up. We appreciate it.
Yeah.